Howdy. I just thought I would show off my kayak and talk a little bit about the features that I like so far. These are pretty new to the US and I guess to the whole world. It's a Stealth Kayaks Fusion 480. It's rotomolded plastic. It's a fishing kayak primarily. It's sort of in the surf ski style. It has a relatively low profile for a fishing kayak, low windage. You know, you can see the back half of it is pretty low volume. The front has more volume, which has been nice paddling through stuff. I haven't done any surf launches yet, but I'm sure going out unloaded with a buoyant nose is going to be nice. So let's get into it. This is a little paddle holder, which is pretty nice. You just slide the blade up there and then you can paddle stays pretty close at hand. So the main thing that sold me on this compared with other fishing kayaks is the front hatch, and since I'm going to be spearfishing from it, I want something where I can access my gear but I can have it dry and protected when I'm not using it. So this is really sweet. You can see there's the seat, there are the foot pedals, so it's pretty easy to access this. And I left a big fish in there that I got the other day to just show off how much of a fish you can get in here. So this little guy, I took this off the Oregon coast, and this I'm pretty sure is a young white shark. So I mean, it's a good probably 40 inches, and really healthy guy, really gonna be tasty. But you know, it's a big fish to just throw in your kayak. So other stuff that I can get in the front, I keep my weight belt right there because it's a good place to distribute the weight while I'm paddling. You can see these are full-length free dive fins that easily fit in that hatch, and I've got a spare paddle, so it's always good if you're, going anywhere slightly risky. And just to demonstrate how long this is, you can probably see a hint of yellow in there, and that is the handle of my gun, which is an 85, and I think it's got a 115 shaft on it. So that's how much length that forward hatch has. It's, I would guess, anything 6 feet will easily go in there, as long as it's very narrow. So very good storage there. I'll be using it as a day hatch, although it's actually a live bait well, but I threw some stuff in there just so you could see. This is kind of how I anticipate diving from it. Keep some of my smaller things that I want at hand right there. The downside of the huge front hatch is that stuff can slide out of reach. Not going to be so much of an issue once I'm in the water, because then I can just, reach my shoulder and, I can go in like that. But anyway, really nice day hatch. It is a little annoying that it doesn't have an easy way to make it dry, and this is actually a gripe I have with the finish of the boat. It wouldn't matter really if it was a dry bait or a live bait well, but like this stuff isn't really sealed, this caulking. There is some fit and finish issues, but overall it's above average in that regard. This rear day hatch, or whatever you want to call it, is also very big. I've got my Crocs, float line, extra water, crabbing bag. So a lot of capacity. It's got a crate bungee back here, but I'm not going to use it because I don't want the drag. So yeah, very nice features on the kayak. It has foot pedal operated rudder, so you can see the rudder here, and it's very good. It's very sensitive. Those footrests overall I would give them, I don't know, 10 out of 10. My complaint with them is that they hinge in the middle, and if you press hard with your heel, I think it's because the plastic has some give, this will slide past vertical, and so then you basically lose everything except for mid-foot support. So that seems like a design flaw. They basically need to put the pedal rails fairly lower, like 5 mil lower, and it wouldn't have been an issue, but it is, so that kind of sucks. I just have to, you know, use more finesse. I think eventually I'm actually probably going to put some sort of physical stop behind that so that it just can't pass vertical, which, you know, that would solve it, but I want to make sure I'm set in my position before I do something like that. Let's see, another cool feature that is, you know, a popular thing with the Stealths is that you can buckle down this big center hatch. So, you know, this is nice. This is like really well thought out. The fact that they use a soft textile makes actually a lot of sense. It's a hinge material that's very secure and very weather resistant. But these little hatches are pretty cool. Let's see if I can set this down so that it'll just be easy to watch. They effectively make a cam that allows you to pretty quickly secure the hatch in a way that's really good. So you can pull it tight, and really you don't have to pull it very tight, and then you just flip it down, and there's one there and there's one at the back of the hatch. So when it's cinched down, it's definitely not going to be able to open. It probably can leak a tiny bit of water, but you know, that's not a major thing. So great kayak. I'm really excited to get into using it more, yeah, I'll show you the bottom now. Alright, I've got the kayak flipped over now, and I thought I would show its contours and what the features are on the bottom. So yeah, something that's hard to see in any photo really, unless it's, you know, a rotatable 360 kind of thing, is what a boat's actually shaped like. So I'm going to try and do that using video, just give you an idea of the contours. So you can see it has a very flat center hull, and it has pretty like gradual transitions to pretty sharp bow, and a pretty low volume back end. It's a pretty flat center section. It has a decent amount of tail rocker. You can see it has some interesting contouring in the back half. So that handle is about where your butt sits, and so you can see right behind where you sit there is a small reduction in volume there, and then it kind of just tapers to the aft. So it does stay pretty flat for pretty long, but it comes to a clean exit. This is the rudder, so it's minimal and very effective. You feel it. It's very responsive. I've gotten a couple dings in it, which, you know, sucks, but that's life, and that's why I got a plastic boat. These things, as I mentioned otherwise, they took some modification to get them to be flush with the bottom of the hole. This one still, I'd like it to be flush, like below flush, but it's basically dead even, slightly proud maybe. But yeah, and then here you can see the transducer port. It's just another scupper hole that would be at your right heel. And you know, this is kind of weird fit finish stuff too. There's just little things, and overall it's not gonna matter. But yeah, these channels do give the boat, I think, a lot of lengthwise stiffness compared with other roto moldeds that are this thin, and then they also allow for the venturi ports. So, and I think probably also help the boat track straight. I mean, it tracks extremely well compared with other fishing kayaks, but you know, what would you expect? It's 16 feet long nearly, so you would hope it would track well. But yeah, there it is. It's been great the times I've taken it out. And I think that conveys the contouring of it pretty well, the way that it transitions from the flat center hull to the pretty sharp prow. Sweet as, mate. My main issue that I have found, and I'm in the midst of correcting, it's basically a fit and finish issue. So this is the Venturi scupper, which is by Vagabond, and the profile of the bottom of it and the way that the hole shape is, they actually don't really go together very well as stock. So you can see how high up above that sits from the bottom of the kayak. It's well above flush, 3 millimeters or more. So I've modified all of these so that they sit flush or below, and so that's this one. You can see I've modified it. It didn't come out too pretty, but it doesn't really matter. And so for some of them I had to actually trim off this part because the total depth of the hole where they interface with the plug from the top, they bottom out, and so you can't achieve full tightness because the screw bottoms out the two pieces. So by trimming off that little bit, you can get a tighter fit in the more outboard scupper holes. Another issue is that the fish finder, transducer one isn't compatible at all with this piece. So that's just sort of something I'm either going to have to make a substitute or just get a transducer on there sooner than later. Anyhow, that's a separate issue, but so yeah, you could see how the stock one goes into that hole, and this hole, it fits a little bit better, but it still sits above the lip. And this one actually is close to good stock, but those are for the live bait well, which I'm just going to put scupper plugs in from above because I'm only going to use it in the near future for just a storage day hatch. Anyhow,